everyone, welcome back. This is The Corner Seat with me, your host Rozitta, and I am so excited that you get to join me on another episode. I do not take you for granted. Kama kawaida, we are coming to you from Golden Life Mall here in Nakuru, courtesy of Origin Coffee House. And just in case you are not aware, we have a new supermarket here at Golden Life Mall. It's called Chandarana Food Plus. It was launched a few days ago, so do stop by. They have some good offers for you. Don't miss that out. We also want to acknowledge the existence of Nomad Dental here at Golden Life Mall. We have Healthy You Shop. There's so much, and if you're in Nakuru, I encourage you to visit this mall. On today's episode, I am excited to present to you an amazing young man whom I just met recently on TikTok. By the way, he is such an inspirational man, and I can't wait to hear his story. Lady or gentleman, introducing to you Brian Shirey. Karibu sana.
Asante.
How are you doing?
I'm well.
I hope usikii baridi.
Hapana.
Hata kwa tumbo.
Kidogo tu.
Kidogo.
Yeah.
It's so nice to meet you.
Thank you.
By the way, we are namesakes. I'm called Rose Moshiri.
Moshiri?
Yes.
Maybe in another world you are my wife.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows?
Who knows?
It's such a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you also for the opportunity.
Yeah.
And for inviting me to your wonderful show. Yeah, I'm very happy to be here.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
So, to begin, who is Brian?
Brian Moshiri is a young man from a small village called Mangu.
Mangu?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just next to Kabarak University.
Okay.
In Nakuru. So that is where I was born. That is where I still live. So I am the firstborn of 3 brothers. So I have 2 younger brothers.
Yeah.
And we live in an extended sort of arrangement where we live with my grandparents.
Nice.
We live with my aunties and uncles.
Yeah.
So it's a very old-fashioned kind of.
But it's very warm.
Very warm and it's very nice to live in that way.
I can imagine.
Especially when you're in the village, yeah?
Yeah.
So it gives you that vibe. I went to school I started school in Nyahururu.
Nyahururu?
Yeah, in a school called Waka Junior.
Waka Junior?
Yeah. And then I moved on to Udaya Boys.
To?
Udaya Boys.
Oh, Udaya. I know Udaya. It's in Nyeri?
Yeah, it's in Udaya.
Udaya, Nyeri.
Udaya in Nyeri. Yeah. I went to a school called Udaya Boys High School.
Yeah.
That's where I finished my high school. And then I came back and went to Jomo Kenyatta University in Nakuru. But that's when I didn't finish campus. I was doing purchasing and supplies. In my 3rd year, that's when I got the accident.
So let's talk about the accident. Or before we get into that, all through your life, you are walking normally until now that year.
Yeah.
So what exactly happened on that day?
It was around February 8th, and I was in town with my friends. We were having a good time. Yeah. And
town Nakuru?
Yeah, in town Nakuru. So we are just having a good time, club hopping, and it was time to go home. We stayed up till late, at around maybe 4 a.m. In the morning. You know how people, before curfew, because it was back in 2014.
2014,
Yeah, so it was time for us to go home. And along the Nakuru Eldoret highway, because as you can remember, I said I live in Kabarak. So we used the highway to go home. So along that highway, that's when we encountered our accident. We were hit by a trailer, and we were 5 in the car. And 3 of the people in the car died instantly. What? And then myself and another young lady, we survived. Okay,
so before you continue, the trailer, was it a head-on collision? Was it from the back?
It was a head-on collision.
It was a head-on?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were in the 3 lanes. You see, for people who are from Nakuru, when you are past Ngata, and there are the 3 lanes that are ascending. So we were in the middle lane, ascending, and then a trailer was coming down, and then it didn't have enough time to go back to its lane. So that's how we met the accident.
Okay.
Yeah.
So about the other lady who survived?
Yeah, she had some serious cuts on her hand, and she had bitten her tongue. But that is as much as her injuries went.
Okay.
She's okay. She healed. She only has scars right now.
Okay.
Very many scars on her hand. So I was the one. I didn't have any other injury. So it was just the spinal cord injury that left me paralyzed.
How did you manage to get out of that situation?
Out of the scene?
Yeah. Or what happened? Were you rescued? Did people come to your aid?
I just remember my memory goes only to the impact.
Oh.
So after the impact, I don't have any recollection of what happened.
Okay.
But I'm told after some time, people came and Good Samaritan rescued us.
Yeah.
You've seen a pro box. He took us from the scene of the accident and brought us to Valley Hospital. That is where I got my first aid.
Okay.
Yeah, but my parents didn't know that I was out of home because I had sneaked out. You know, I was quite young because that was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So in their mind, they knew that I was in their house.
Yeah.
So when they received the call and they were told that I had been in an accident, they were very surprised and very shocked.
So when did they come to see you?
The same day, on the 8th, maybe at around 9, because when I got to Valley Hospital, I was conscious, and they asked me to give out a number that I could contact. They could contact.
Okay.
So I didn't give out my parents' number. I gave out a friend's number. So my friend called my friend called my cousin. My cousin called my parents, and then my parents came to hospital. In the beginning, I didn't think it was a serious injury because I didn't even know about spinal cord injuries. So I thought that the worst thing that could have happened to me is maybe I dislocated my neck or something like that, or broken a leg, because I knew I couldn't move.
You could feel like your body's not moving.
Yeah, but I didn't know the specifics. So I didn't think it was something serious. I thought I would, but you know, again, I was a very vibrant young man. I was strong, so I didn't think something like this could happen.
What was your reaction when you learned that you had the injury?
I didn't, it wasn't like, I don't have like a moment, a specific moment when I realized. I would say that came much later, like a month or 2 months after the accident, when I started Googling on my phone, and I realized and I found out what spinal cord injury means. Because when I was in hospital, I knew I couldn't feel, but I didn't know the how severe it was. I thought it was something that would come back in due time. So when I went home 2 months later, that's when I knew that it is mostly a permanent condition.
So you stayed in hospital for 2 months?
No, I stayed for, after getting my first aid in Valley Hospital, they advised me to go to Aga Khan the same day. So we found an ambulance. We went to Aga Khan Hospital, Nairobi, through the night. I was there from Sunday to Tuesday. The bill was already 1 million shillings in 3 days, so we had to find an alternative. So we were advised to go to Kenyatta Hospital. That's where I went. I waited for 2 weeks, and then I got my surgery done, the reconstructive surgery. After 2 weeks, I stayed for another 2 weeks, being observed, and then now I came home. So, no, I didn't come home. I came to Nakuru, and then I spent further 2 weeks in a hospital in 58, section 58. So let's call them 2 months.
At what point did it hit you that truly this is it. There's no turning back from this situation.
I think the day I came home from the hospital in 58, I think I could feel that, I could feel like my body was, there's a big transition from hospital to home.
Yeah.
When after a month in hospital, you don't want to go home because you're already used to that environment, and you have nurses to help you. But when you go home, now your parents are the people who are going to be taking care of you, giving you care. So it was a big adjustment. So that evening when I came home from hospital, I just cried. I just cried continuously in my bed, and I realized that this was going to be in my life. It was a moment of realization and a moment of a lot of emotions.
Did you feel like you were going through any form of regrets or?
Yeah, there was a lot of guilt. That is something that I've always dealt with. Up to today, sometimes the guilt will still creep back in, and I will feel like I caused this to myself. I did this to myself, or I did this to my parents, to my friends, to my family. But that's just a part of the life that we live. I felt there were feelings of guilt, there were feelings of regret, asking myself if maybe I made better decisions, this will not be happening to me. So that's just normal. It's a part of my life, and I accept it.
Did you ever consider going for counseling? Because I know I've been in such a situation where I also have regrets, like I wish I didn't use this route, I wish I would have made a better decision. And it was so bad for me, I chose to go for counseling. So did you ever consider going for counseling?
No, but in hindsight, I think I should have. Because at the time I didn't know the impact that maybe sitting down with a psychologist or psychiatrist, I didn't know what impact that would have had to me. So, but we didn't know. Let's say we as a family, we didn't know how important it was to have a counselor. So I just weathered the storm by myself, but it was very hard. Very, very hard, because at some point I sank into a lot of depression, and it was very difficult for me to see any good thing about my life. So it was a dark period in my life. And now that you're saying it, I think if we would have been advised better, I would have chosen to go to therapy and work on my guilt, on my depression, on my anxiety. Because let's say for the first 2 years, 2014 and 2015, those 2 years were lost because I couldn't function normally.
So you didn't go back to school either?
I was bedridden for those 2 years.
For the 2 years?
Yeah, I was bedridden. I was totally bedridden. I was in a very bad way because I would only get out of bed on Sundays. I couldn't even sit upright because my body was so weak. They had to recline my seat. And it was funny. There were funny things because I couldn't even sing. If I tried to speak up, not even singing. If I tried to speak using a loud voice, I would faint. If I tried to sit upright, I would faint. If I listened to loud music, I would faint.
It would affect you that much?
Bright lights, I would faint.
Wow.
So it was really, now looking back at it, it was really funny because I was so weak.
So right now, all that is gone?
It is. Right now I'm okay. I can sit upright, I can sit for long hours. But sometimes if maybe I'm in pain, I feel lightheaded. Or maybe if I'm exposed to high temperatures, I can faint. But that is something that most people experience.
So after the 2 years, what happened to your life? What changed? Did you go back to your school routine?
No, it was still so early because after 2 years, that is when I started, my life changed from being bedridden to using my wheelchair. So now I was training myself. I was trying to sit every day because previously I would spend like the entire week in bed. So in 2016 I decided, let me try to sit on my wheelchair every day. So every day I would wake up and transfer to my chair, and so that my body would get used to it. So it was still too early to get back to school, and I was too weak, and the bills had finished anything that we had in the bank. So there was simply no money for school fees. So I just stayed at home, and my life has just changed maybe last year or maybe this year, 2020. 2020 has been the year that things have changed.
In what way?
They have changed in terms of me not staying home for too long. Now I can move out. Yeah, I can move out. Previously I didn't have a power wheelchair. So and coming to town and having to have someone to push me, I didn't like that. So I just preferred to stay at home. So now that I have the power wheelchair, I can use it to move around by myself. I'm quite independent. I just need my father to drop me off, and I can move around town by myself.
Amazing. So I want us to take a short break, and then after we come back, you'll now share with us going forward. What do you plan for your life and all that? Sawa. So, lady or gentleman, that is Brian Shirey for you, and his story is definitely one to touch our heart. And I hope you stay tuned because there is more coming after the break. We'll be right back. Lady or gentlemen, we are back. That was Origin Coffee House for you. Remember, here at Golden Life Mall, we have a supermarket, Chandarana Food Plus. You can always pop in, do your shopping, see the offers they have, and you'll thank me later. So before we went on a break, Brian was sharing with us his story of how he got to be on the chair. And going on forward, he's going to be sharing more with us. So thank you so much, Brian, for your time. I really do appreciate.
Thank you.
How did your life change from 2020 up to this particular moment?
I think another important part of my life was in 2016 when a few friends came together, and then they fundraised some money, and then I was able to buy a wheelchair, a power wheelchair. So from that time, now my mindset changed.
Before we go into that, please explain to our audience what a power wheelchair is, because probably there's someone who doesn't know what it is.
Oh, okay. A power wheelchair is basically a motorized chair, a motorized wheelchair, which you can control with a lot of ease.
Okay.
Watu wanasemanga ni ile kiti ya kujipeleka. So the chair I'm using right now is a good example of a power wheelchair, but there are many different types of wheelchairs. So the wheelchair I'm using right now is a light version. It's a lighter version, so I use this one a lot when I'm traveling. So because it's foldable, you can put it in the car, you can lift it. But I have another wheelchair because I live in the village. I have a heavier wheelchair that can handle the terrain.
Okay.
So that was my first power wheelchair, and it has really changed my life because now I can be home alone. In the past, I always had to have someone next to me because, for instance, if I needed to use a remote and it was just 2 feet away, I couldn't reach it. If I needed a glass of water, I couldn't reach it, even if it was on the table. So the power wheelchair really gave me a lot of independence, and that was one of my life-changing moments. So I started getting independence, started learning how to live again, to enjoy life, because I was no longer confined in the house. Because during that time I was very brown skinned, because I was spending much of my time in the house. So I looked, even my color wasn't the usual. Kama wewe. So now after the wheelchair, now my life changed. And then sometime in 2018, I decided to start my foundation. It is called Strong Spine Foundation. Strong Spine.
Strong Spine.
Yeah.
Wow, what does it entail?
Strong Spine is about, we try to foster inclusion and equality and awareness about disability issues. So what I try to do with that foundation is to just shine a bright light on our lives, our struggles, our gifts, our challenges, just so that people out there, mostly able-bodied people, who are not so aware about what goes on within our lives, can get a very personal glimpse of precisely my life, because that is what I share most of. Because I feel like if I share about my life, then people will have perspective about the lives of other disabled people. So that is what I do. I advocate for accessibility, physical accessibility to buildings, in streets, because if a place is not accessible, for instance, if Golden Life was not accessible, we wouldn't be here right now. Because if there's something that I don't accept, niyo kubebwa. I would rather just opt out. I don't think any disabled person enjoys being carried upstairs. So it's something that over time I've come to just not accept. If you're going to invite me to a place and it is inaccessible, I'd rather not come.
Thank God Golden Life Mall is very accessible. Very accessible. So what have you been able to achieve so far with that foundation up to this point?
We have achieved so much. In 2019 was our best year before the pandemic hit. So in 2019, in the beginning in the beginning I used to take personal cases of individual cases of people, disabled people who could benefit from help. So we visited, I think we raised a lot of money for 3 cases, where we provided them with wheelchairs, assistive devices, and the biggest achievement that year was that we built a house for a young man in Njoro, who is called Joseph Kahuho. He has polio, so he was living in a mud house in very bad conditions. So when I went to see him, I felt like it was a good idea to build him a house. So we did that. We raised money for 3 months, and then we built a house in 3 days. It was an iron sheet house, but it was still a big upgrade. It's a very decent house for him. And then towards the end of that year, we did something that we were calling the Diaper Initiative.
The Diaper Initiative.
most disabled people need to use adult diapers. So we raised money and raised awareness, and by the end of that year in December, we raised about 100,000, and we gave diapers worth that money to people who needed them, because diapers are so expensive. This is what people don't understand. For a packet of 10 pieces of adult diapers ranges around 800 to 1,200. So, and 10 pieces, you use them for maybe 5 days. So if you use 1,000 in 5 days, how much will you use in a month? And you still have to use medication. You still have other bills to pay, because we are, when people say disability is expensive, they don't grasp just how expensive it is. Even for maybe traveling, a person like me, traveling using public means will be so stressful for me. So if you don't have a car, you need a taxi, and taxis are so expensive. Especially because, and again, disabled people are the highest. Most, like 80% of disabled people are unemployed. So you don't have any means of income. So it's very important it was important for me to help people out in that way, to provide them with something, with a commodity that is a necessity for us. So adult diapers is very important to my foundation, and this year we will be partnering with Safaricom, and they have given us a very big donation, and during December we'll be doing another adult diaper drive.
Amazing. What can our audience do to partner with you as well? Because I'm sure there are some people who would like to be part of that.
I think we are always looking forward to partnering with people, whether they would like to make donations, wheelchair donations, adult diaper donations, monetary donations, basically anything that relates to a disabled person, whether it is offering, donating like white canes, blind people use white canes. People with cerebral palsy need corsets. So we are open to anything. If you have a wheelchair at home that you don't use, you can reach out to me.
Will you use your number?
If you have maybe even cushions, we have special cushions to sit on. We have special beds that we sleep on. So there's so much. So many ways that you can support disabled people.
I'll put your number on the screen so that anyone who is interested can reach out to you, right? Okay. I discovered you on TikTok. Let's talk about that before we finish the episode. TikTok, how did you get into it, and how has your experience been on that huge platform? And I see you are a big TikToker. How has it been for you? TikTok, I joined TikTok in 2020. I am a writer. That is what I do. I write for various blogs in Kenya. Right now I'm writing for 2 blogs. So I was given a task to do an article about Asia Nasenya. She had just blown up during that time. So I was told to do some research about her and to write an article about how much she had grown. So I went on TikTok to do some research on Asia to know what she does. So I went on, I created an account. That was in April. It was around April there. So, and then I decided, let me do one video, because I didn't even know how TikTok worked. So I did one video, and then I did another one. It was just for fun, because I didn't have any goal with TikTok.
So at around, was it May? May, I did that video where I introduced myself and told people how I got disabled. And that was when that video went viral. It got 4.6 million views. And I went from 800 followers to 50 to 50,000 in was it in about days, in just days. So that was my turning point. So I went on creating content, but I've never been a consistent creator because I would say that the biggest disadvantage for me is that I don't have someone who can help me with that.
Like
setting up, taking videos. Now my mom is the one who helps me.
She's your videographer.
She's my videographer.
Shout out to her.
But she's still it's still hard for her because most of the things that I'm telling her to do, she doesn't have the know-how. But she has helped me throughout.
She's really done a good job.
Yeah, she's done a good job because all the videos that I post on TikTok are mostly taken by my mom.
Wow.
So basically, when I realized that I had started to gain a following on TikTok, I decided to use the platform to do what I do with Strong Spine, which is to create awareness, just to use a little bit of humor and not to, because disabled people are treated with a particular kind of stereotype that we are sad, our stories are sad, we are gloomy all the time. So I tried to make it light and to make it educational and fun, so that people can get to know about me and to know about different aspects of my life.
Amazing. Okay. I'm your follower, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Now don't follow back, but ni sawa tu, no hard feelings.
I will follow back.
So, as we conclude the show, acha nikuulize, kuna kamutu, is there a girlfriend?
Mimi mapenzi imenitwanga. Love, when it comes to relationships, when you are disabled, it is very complicated. But every day my heart is open for new experiences, for new people. So
So that's to say you're single.
No.
So it's yes.
No, I'm not single.
Okay.
I'm not single.
Okay.
I'm not single. I'm seeing someone. And that is why I'm saying it's difficult when you are disabled, but you always keep your heart open. But I think dating is difficult for everyone.
It is.
So
mimi, where?
Umechapo character development.
Twice to your story. But it's amazing. Shout out to your girlfriend. I'm sure she is amazing.
She is.
She is.
Okay.
It was such a pleasure having you at the corner seat. I believe you have also enjoyed as well.
I have.
And just maybe to a final remark from Brian Mushiri. What is the one thing you want people to remember out of this interview?
I just want them to see that there is a different side of disability. Also when I grew up, I knew disabled people were, like I said, they were always sad, always miserable, always crying about how their lives. And there is that part, of course, because I was for a long period in my life I was in that space. But there's also a different space, which is we are productive, we are creative, we are fun, we are reliable to work with, and we are capable, and we can make things. We can make something out of our lives.
Amazing.
And that is what I would want people to know or to get out of this interview. That it is possible to be disabled and still have a very fulfilling and rewarding life.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I feel personally inspired. Asante sana, and thank you for your time.
Thank you also for
inviting me. I hope to have
me.
you again.
Hopefully, yes.
Okay. Lady or gentleman, thank you so much for sticking around to watch the story of Brian Mushiri. Remember, you can get in touch with him through the numbers on your screen right now. If you'd love to partner with him in any way, as you heard him say, please contact him through the numbers on the screen. We hope you are inspired. Share this story to somebody who might need it the most, and also don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop a comment like you call. Until next time, I'm your coach Rozitta. Bye.